What do you think actually triggers the reported invite of Chris Nwaogu and Ngozi Oronabose to the White House after the broadcast of Chris Nwaogu to millions of Biafrans worldwide? We are seeing this kind of invite. Is Chris Nwaogu that popular?
This is somebody that have registered his presence within the Washington political environment for years, unknowingly to a lot of people. Chris Nwaogu is a Biafra from Ebonyi State. For people who does not know the particular state he actually came from. One person on the council said that he have layers of loyalists, spread over 72 countries of the world. It became very clear. That recently, immediately after the broadcast to billions of Biafrans all over the world, if you look at that broadcast and look at the background, you have the Biafran flag and the American flag showing recognition. The American flag at the background shows recognition, while the Biafran flag also at the background showing, the continued, struggle for the recognition of Biafra. Chris Nwaogu, from what we gathered, is a very influential, Biafran American who has spent a lot of years in the American political environment before the appointment came as the leader of DOS, Director of Service, all over the world under IPOB. Pledging his loyalty to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I remember both of them resides in America. Just recently, we saw Dr. Oronabose, in London, headquarters of the Amnesty International, where he presented letter of recognition of Biafra as a sovereign nation. And we also witnessed the visit and, of course, the audience given to him by the French Parliament, when he formally and officially presented a letter of charter of recognition of Biafra to the French Parliament government under Emmanuel Macron. But that is not the game. But why this thing is making a lot of headline currently now is that after the broadcast by the leader of DOS worldwide, Chris Nwaogu, then a news broke that the whole world almost listened to him, and it was offered an invitation for a meeting, or a summit or a conference on Biafra in the White House in Washington, D.C. So definitely we are going to see, Dr. Oronabose and a leader of Biafra government in exile, Deputy Prime Minister, let us put it that way, Then we are seeing Dr. Chris, Nwaogu, and both of them are now going to be guests to Donald Trump at the White House.
We also heard that he said there's going to be restoration of Radio Biafra. What does this actually mean?
Yes, let me give you a brief of how Radio Biafra started and the crisis. I will not even call it crisis because it is under command and control, and that's the code of conduct of the IPOB, under Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Radio Biafra was established by Nwaogu Ojukwu. He was the first person, that was the first time everybody heard about Radio Biafra. He is the first person that established Radio Biafra before it went moribund. Then, once he came, there was financial obligations, he couldn't finance that, and he remained moribund. Then, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu came, gave it life, did all the legal arrangement in that regard, and the structures of Radio Biafra came into life under Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said very clearly, that if you can, any of them have watched this video, he said that, when it becomes a very serious necessity for Radio Biafra to come back to life, that he, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, worked for a very long time in London, in Britain, to be able to raise money to establish, Radio Biafra, and that was how Radio Biafra now came. And of course, it was given to some people to handle as a result of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's legal challenges. And after that, then what we have at play, it became very clear that the radio was not handled properly, and that jeopardized, because it looks like Mazen Namdekano, was just the master of everything. If you see him in the radio Biafra, you know that it's something else and all that. So, and based on that, now can said that a medium of communication will be restored back. And being a popular radio, that is the platform definitely they are going to use. And on that regard, we are saying that Chris Nwaogu is saying that it is going to be, restored back. Definitely. And that is what we are hoping that we do. A lot of people that have listened to that speech and address by the head of DOS worldwide, it became very clear that he is on ground, and we are going to witness a speedy push to the struggle. And of course, the US. This is not the US of the First Republic, Second Republic, or the Third Republic. This is the US of the Fourth Republic.
And a lot of people are saying that Nigeria trying to play double standard by negotiating with some armed groups while cracking down on IPOB.
Nigeria is actually playing a double standard, because if you look at the state police, if you look at it very well, it's just like the normal police structure we have today. Everything is still centered on the IG and the president. The Fulani has a way they manipulated to make sure that they continue to hold the structure of this country. So state police is not going to work until we see a thoroughly decentralized system that will empower the state police. That is one. Two, on the issue of regional government will not stop infiltration of the Fulani jihadists across the 36 states of the federation, and which is also a trend. Look at what happened in Benue a few days ago. The massacre. A lot of people were actually, massacred by the same people. So, on the issue of IPOB, I think it's a very clear thing. Not minding what Kubi is trying to say, that IPOB has repented, it's only Aloha and OPC and all that. All those things does not matter to anybody today. Today, IPOB is functioning in 72 countries of the world, even with a letter of credence extended to the United Nations, where it was acknowledged that IPOB is not a terrorist organization. Let me show you what is going to happen at the end of the day, and why they are going to dismantle the United Nations because of Biafra. Amina, a Fulani woman in that United Nations, by the end of this year, his tenure in United Nations will expire, and that will be a definite bye-bye. All the documentation that has been, are put under the carpet that refuse to be attended to over United Nations role and EU role on Biafra will now definitely be attended to. So anybody that is branding victimization against IPOB is just wasting his own time, because functionality is it, and you can see physically the operations of IPOB worldwide.
And do you think Mazen Namdekano can actually be released with all of these cross appeals the federal government is doing presently?
Whether they do that or Nigerian judiciary can never be trusted, I can tell you that. Nigerian judiciary can never be trusted. Let me just tell you, whatever decision they are going to take, it does not concern Mazen Namdekano. Mazen Namdekano has made his decision. What is the decision? Even though in the appeal court process now, they have reduced it from 7 to 5, from 5 now to 3. So 3-man appeal court judges are definitely going to see to the ruling. There's a previous ruling, on that Mazen Namdekano's case, where they passed, the sentence and the cross appeal of the federal government. So what we are waiting now is the official arrangement and pronouncement on judgment that Mazen Namdekano should be set free. Then if the federal government feel otherwise, then we can go to Supreme Court. But let me just put it that way. There's an invocation, an interpretation from international law that empowers Mazen Namdekano to be ordered to be set free on every count charges against him by the federal government under a repeat law. and which makes it very unfortunate for Nigerian government to have carried out that kind of judgment against a law, against Nnamdi Kanu, which a law that does not exist. So that is the fact. But the beauty of it is that the spread of the struggle for the recognition of Biafra has taken a different direction. In fact, it has become a national anthem globally now. In the EU today, you can see that every day, as you have watched in the video, every day they are debating what next for Nigeria. What next for Nigeria? And EU is made up of 27 countries under a treaty that was signed in Rome. In that 27 countries, they have member states. The same thing with United Nations. United Nations has 193 member states, 51 countries. That's United Nations. United Nations and the EU might not have the legal power to, recognize Biafra. But once a sovereign nation recognizes Biafra, it binds on United Nations and EU at the same time. And we don't need to play much card in that regard. What the American government or the Israeli government, as it we are today, make that pronouncement, and that is final. And that is why you are seeing Dr. Nwaogu say, moving from one country to another, submitting letter of recognition to presidents, prime ministers around the world.